Welcome to VIVA MMA, a YouTube channel for proud lovers of all things MMA. And Alpaca Thesaurus, I'm calling you out.
Let's wrestle, 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 let's wrestle.
I just watched Alpaca Thesaurus' video breaking down the Khabib Nurmagomedov Conor McGregor fight, picking apart the alleged apology that Conor issued to Khabib during the fight. Here's the thing about confirmation bias, Alpaca Thesaurus. You don't know you have it when you have it, and you, sir,
have it.
Let's go through the video bit by bit, and I'm going to point out key points where Alpaca Thesaurus' confirmation bias is getting the best of his interpreting the facts accurately and objectively. Incidentally, I may have confirmation bias, but I have confirmation bias with insight, in that I know when I have confirmation bias, and I am therefore able to accommodate and compensate for my own confirmation bias. And incidentally, if you're wondering why I'm doing this in my car, it's because I've got a kid sleeping in the back, and I can't leave the car because I want to enjoy the silence.
Conor McGregor apparently apologized to Khabib Nurmagomedov in the octagon, saying it's only business.
Wi-Fi connection is too weak from where I'm parked, so I gotta get closer to the house.
We like to believe that our opinions are shaped by our ability to parse the facts available to us, and nothing's more true than what we see and hear with our own eyes and ears. Wrong. I'm talking about narrative here, people.
This is an interesting phenomenon called projection, accusing others of what we are guilty of. Here, Alpaca Thesaurus is saying that you cannot objectively view the world because it's shaped by X, Y, and Z without realizing that his own views of the world are shaped by X, Y, and Z.
It's just a different X, Y, and Z.
Let's keep going.
Give meaning. Round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4.
Dude, I don't care what your explanation is. Round 3 was objectively different than round 1 and 2. Not comparing it to other fights. Round 3, he said, "Come at me," and then put his fist out.
Round 3.
It may have been a feeler, but I don't think it was. And here's why I don't think it was. McGregor knew that he was getting destroyed that fight, so he was trying to switch up his game a little bit. Instead of being antagonizing, irritating, insulting, demeaning, condescending, and belligerent, now he's trying to show a softer side, like, hey dude, let's pump fists because we're friends, you know?
If you think you see some kind of touchy-glovey gesture in the third, you're just not familiar with Conor's movement. He can
Dude, I'm familiar with Conor's movement. His movement was come, fist pump, let's fight. Third round, after having gotten beaten in rounds 1 and 2, trying to throw Khabib off his game by being nice and not so Khabib should stop and say like, wait a minute, why is he being friendly with me right now? I can't pummel a guy who's being friendly with me. You can pummel a guy who you hate, but if you get the feeling that the guy's kind of being nice for some reason, maybe you'll be more reluctant to pummel him. Khabib did not fall for it and pummeled him. You were looking to confirm that that glove touch narrative was fiction, so you picked every detail that you thought supported that theory. That is the definition of confirmation bias. My dad always says, when you're looking for a golf ball in the forest, you're gonna be fooled by anything that looks white.
Khabib ends the round with a couple punches after the horn.
That was not a couple of punches, that was one punch. And it was barely after the horn because he started throwing it before the horn, and maybe Superman would have spider-like reflexes to know to not finish that punch once it's already in full motion.
In round 2, Khabib tucks McGregor into the Dagestani duvet.
I want to change his face, and this is what I want.
Change face. Sure, a funny line for his fans, but unless he takes up beard trimming, he's not changing anybody's face.
Well, incidentally, Alpaca, I would argue that he did change McGregor's face, not physically through the beating, but psychologically through the beating, because the face of Conor McGregor as he was resting up against the cage after having been choked out by Khabib was a different face than it was in the press talking, and it was a different face than it was at the beginning of the fight. It was the face of a defeated man, so Khabib did change McGregor's face.
Khabib must have been tired or something, because this is the entirety of his trash talk for the whole fight. Huh? What happened? Let's talk now. Let's go. Maybe he just ran out of lines or needs better writers.
Alpaca, are you not impressed with a man pounding down on another man's face saying, let's talk? I gotta tell you something. If I'm Conor McGregor on my back with Khabib on me, immobilizing my legs, pounding me in the face, and shouting, let's talk in between each punch, dude, I'm terrified just looking at that. That's pretty good trash talk. Also, Alpaca, confirmation bias. Khabib's, I don't know what number language English is for him, but it's not his first, and I don't think it's his second. Someone trash talking while pummeling another man inside the octagon in what is not their first language, I'd say he did pretty good.
I think he's trying to gas him out. I think he's getting smashed.
Well, as soon as Khabib starts yelling for Dana here, Conor uncrosses his legs and deliberately smashes him hard in the face with his knee.
So I don't know if this is my own confirmation bias. I'm not so sure that it was clear that he kneed him in the face on purpose. To me, it looked like he might have been trying to buck out of the position by rocketing his legs up into the air, and Khabib's face was there. I don't know if that interpretation is affected by my own confirmation bias, but I do look at that and I see Conor trying to buck out of the downward position and using his own foot sort of like to spring his legs so that he can get more of a buck to get up and Khabib's face was just where it is. I don't know if that's what he was trying to do or he was trying to knee the head of a downed opponent, but I did notice it during the fight, and I thought that that might have been getting close to deliberately or accidentally justifying a serious warning, if not maybe a penalty, but whatever.
Khabib thinks he has Conor under control and can give all his attention to Dana. Wrong. The old Khabiber finds out real quick that the rule.
Let me make sure I understand your theory here. The theory is that Conor did the illegal knee kick to the head of Khabib on purpose to interrupt Khabib talking to Dana White on the side of the octagon. Dude, I have a creative imagination, and that is far-fetched. I still love it, though.
Lose the position.
Stop. Hey, stop. Stop. Hey. Stop. Let's go.
A very creative interpretation, but how does it make sense? If Conor says it's only business, and that's supposed to be an apology, why would Khabib agree?
Let me answer all three of those questions. First of all, it's not a creative interpretation. Your interpretation of what he said, fight business, is creative. Why would McGregor apologize? The same reason he was trying to touch gloves with Khabib in the third round, to throw him off his game by being apologetic, by being sympathetic, by being the nice guy now, so that Khabib might feel a little guilty pummeling him quite as hard as he continued to pummel him. That's part of the game plan. He wasn't winning the first 2 rounds, so he decided to become Mr. Nice Guy in the hopes of throwing off Khabib so that Khabib would say, geez, maybe I want to feel bad about beating his face in so badly in the 3rd, 4th round. That's why he was doing it.
McGregor's plan was just starting to work. Do the same things round 4 and 5, and it's a simple finish or decision victory.
Alpaca, that's creative. Nothing McGregor was doing worked. He may have eked out a win in round 3, but that was arguable. He was down 2 rounds to 1 at the very best, possibly 3-0. Nothing in his grappling game was working. Nothing in his striking game was working. Nothing on his feet was working. Khabib was basically dominating him on all fronts. That's why he started apologizing to Khabib during the fight.
This is what McGregor actually said.
Dude, when you slow it down, I hear flying fishes or buying dishes, so I'm not sure what slowing it down proves because it becomes even more incomprehensible to me. Normal speed, it's clear. He's saying, it's only business, not fighting business, fighting business. That's not even how a thick Irish accent says fighting. They go, fighting business. It's more likely he said, mind your business. Mind your business, just back off, just mind your business.
McGregor lands an illegal blow to the back of the head at the end of the round, but nothing tempers Khabib's incessant complaints, which continue through the break.
I would argue that calling Khabib's complaints incessant is itself infused with confirmation bias. I noticed the amount of fouls committed by McGregor in this fight, and even though I had picked him to win wrongly because I always picked the wrong fighter, I noticed the fouls in this fight, and I was sort of surprised. He had grabbing his gloves, grabbing his shorts, toes through the fence, illegal strikes to the back of the head, knee to the head of a down opponent. That's 5 strikes that just named off the top of my head. I don't think what Khabib is doing constitutes incessant complaining. I think it constitutes legitimate complaining.
Khabib trying to get out of all this belly aching. Sympathy? A win by disqualification? Khabib initiated a kinda repetitious intimacy with McGregor's taint that you just don't expect outside of a cruisy bathroom stall.
True as that may be, there is nothing illegal or foul about that grappling position. Dude, if you think that that's reflective of a cruisy bathroom stall, I would love to see what you say about the north-south position, because that makes me cringe when I see it, but no foul about it, just part of the game. The very intimate part of the game.
With a minute left in the 3rd, the frustrated Khabib, who missed on 5 or 6 takedowns, winds up and punches McGregor straight in his hot Irish balls, full force. No warnings.
That looked like it was on the inside of the thigh.
That's what I see.
That's what you see because you're wearing the goggles of confirmation bias and you lack the insight to realize it. Snap.
Well, that's what I see. We're able to see how difficult it is to read and interpret behavior if you don't take context, baseline behaviors, and psychology into consideration. So often, that's the reason people attach themselves to narratives which confirm their bias.
People can attach themselves to narratives that confirm their bias, or they can fabricate narratives that confirm their bias. Incidentally, Alpaca Thesaurus, I do love your videos. I'm just doing this for fun, and so that we can establish potentially somewhat of a rivalry. Although, why are you called an alpaca when you're quite clearly a gecko or some form of a lizard? I have no idea what's going on. The world doesn't make sense to me anymore. All that I know is that my kid is still sleeping through all this. This is great. Productivity, baby. Multitasking, baby. Working in the car, parked on the sidewalk. Are we going with this? Alright, dude. I love your stuff. I think you're totally wrong on this, but I love your stuff and I love your channel. Incidentally, if you like this stuff and you like my channel, like, share, subscribe. Viva MMA for all things MMA. This is my offshoot channel from my main channel, which is Viva Fry, because I love UFC, but you know, the kids that follow me on my main channel don't necessarily need to see adult people punching each other in the face until they bleed and fall unconscious and lose teeth and whatnot. Even though I think there's something useful about watching it in terms of learning self-defense, discipline, respect, I can appreciate that it's not for everybody. So Viva MMA for my MMA channel, Viva Fry for my main channel. Peace out and protect yourselves at all time.
Let's wrestle! Let's wrestle! Let's wrestle! Let's wrestle! Let's wrestle! Let's wrestle!